Rain lashed against the windows. Thunder rattled the old bungalow. Inside, Charles sat by the fireplace, its warm glow a stark contrast to the stormy night outside. He was alone, or so he thought, as he stared out the window at the silhouette of the old oak tree, its branches swaying violently in the wind. A loud pounding on the door startled Charles. He cautiously approached the door, his heart pounding in his chest. Peering through the peephole, he saw 4 figures huddled under a large umbrella. He recognized them instantly, his friends James, Mike, Robert and Maria. "What are you doing here on a night like this?" Charles asked, ushering them in. "We heard you were all alone," James said, shaking the water off his coat. "Figured you could use some company." The friends settled around the fireplace, the crackling fire providing a comforting warmth. They chatted about their day, their laughter momentarily chasing away the gloom of the stormy night. Charles offered them hot chocolate and cookies, which they gratefully accepted. "So, Charles," Robert began, a mischievous glint in his eye, "we heard a rumor that this old house has a bit of a reputation." Charles chuckled. "A reputation? What kind of reputation?" Mike leaned forward, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "They say it's haunted." Charles tried to dissuade him, but James was determined. Armed with a flashlight and a surge of bravado, he started his ascent up the creaky stairs. The rest of the group watched, their faces a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. Each step James took was accompanied by a groan from the old stairs. The air grew colder the higher he climbed, sending shivers down his spine. A musty smell filled his nostrils, the scent of decay and forgotten things. James reached the top of the stairs and shone his flashlight down the hallway. Dust particles danced in the beam of light, revealing a long corridor lined with closed doors. He took a tentative step into the hallway, his heart pounding in his chest. As he approached the third door on the right, he felt a cold spot settle over him. A shiver ran down his spine and the hairs on the back of his neck stood on end. He reached for the doorknob, his hand trembling slightly, and then it happened. James as James, and then it happened.
Despite my fear, I'll go next.
Maria, despite her fear, surprised everyone by volunteering to go next. She cautiously made her way up the creaking stairs, her every sense on high alert. The others held their breath, listening to her slow, hesitant footsteps. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Just when their anxiety reached its peak, they heard a blood-curdling scream echoing from upstairs. It was Maria's voice, filled with sheer terror. They rushed towards the stairs, their hearts pounding in their chests. Reaching the top, they found the hallway empty. Maria was gone, vanished into thin air. S4. Media. A person disappearing mysteriously in a ghostly manner, a hand reaching out and then vanishing into thin air. Oh! The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the sound of their own ragged breathing. Fear, cold and clammy, gripped their hearts. Where could Maria have gone? What had happened to her? They searched every nook and cranny of the third floor, their flashlight beams cutting through the darkness. But there was no sign of Maria. It was as if she had simply ceased to exist. As they stood huddled together in the hallway, they thought they heard it. A faint whisper coming from the end of the hall. It was a soft, mournful sound, barely audible above the pounding of their hearts. They cautiously approached the source of the sound, their flashlight beams converging on the last door at the end of the hallway. The door was slightly ajar, and a cold breeze seemed to emanate from the room beyond. Taking a deep breath, Charles pushed the door open. The room was dark and dusty, lit only by the faint moonlight filtering in through a boarded-up window. A musty smell hung in the air, the scent of decay and forgotten things. And then they saw it. In the center of the room, lying on the dusty floor, was a small wooden box. It was ornately carved and looked very old, and clutched tightly in its clasp was a single white rose. As they approached the box, the whispers grew louder, swirling around them like a cold wind. The friends exchanged uneasy glances. What did this all mean? Where were James and Maria? Suddenly, the box sprang open and a blinding light erupted from within. The friends shielded their eyes, their hearts pounding in their chests. When the light subsided, they gasped at what they saw.
We understand now. This house, it holds memories, echoes of the past.
We're not in danger, we're home.
Standing before them, bathed in an ethereal glow, were James and Maria. But they looked different, their eyes filled with a strange light. They were smiling, but it was a sad, knowing smile. As suddenly as they had appeared, James and Maria began to fade, their forms becoming translucent, shimmering like heat waves in the air. The whispers grew fainter, the light dimmed, and the box clicked shut. Charles, Mike and Robert stared at the spot where their friends had been, their minds struggling to comprehend what they had just witnessed. The room was silent now, the only sound the creaking of the old house and the pounding of their own hearts. They left the box where it lay, a silent testament to the secrets held within the old house's walls. As they made their way downstairs, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone, that the house itself was watching them, remembering. The storm outside had subsided, and the first rays of dawn were peeking through the clouds. As they stepped out into the crisp morning air, they knew that their lives were forever changed by their encounter with the ghostly hand and the secrets it had revealed.